Okay. If someone wanted to be more sustainable in 2026, which 2 or 3 products are a good starting point?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So, one product that I always think of as a really good starting point is the shampoo bars. So, if we think about how frequently people wash their hair, how most shampoo is presented in a plastic bottle, and how people who are using commercially produced normal shampoo, if you want to call it that, made with things like detergent and quite a lot of artificial additives, they tend to need to wash their hair every single day. So they will be using a volume of shampoo from a plastic bottle every single day, and then they'll be washing detergent down the sink. They will also probably be using a plastic bottle of conditioner because in order to counteract the drying effects of the artificial surfactants, they'll need that every single day. And so, that's a lot of plastic bottles in a year. And we have produced our solid natural shampoo bars for about 8 years now. And when you use a natural shampoo bar, you obviously don't have a plastic bottle. You just have a bar with paper wrapping, all of which is fully recyclable and or compostable if you operate a compost heap. So that saves the plastic bottles for a start. Also, after you have been using natural shampoo, which does not contain artificial surfactants and detergents, you will find, I guarantee, that you don't have to wash your hair every day. So many people say this to us, when their hair is and their scalp are not fighting the drying effects of the detergent, it balances out and their hair is no longer becoming very, very greasy. Their hair doesn't have a coating on it that is the way that commercially produced conditioners condition your hair. They actually put stuff that is a bit like Tefal on your non-stick pan on the surface of the hair to make it look shiny. So it hasn't got that on it, so it's not attracting dirt to stick to it. And the whole experience of hair washing is very different. So it is no plastic bottles to start with. It is washing much less frequently. And also, after a few months, people find that they no longer need conditioner. So while we do produce a solid conditioner very frequently, people find that when they're not using the damaging effects of the detergent on their hair, they actually don't need conditioner anymore. And the health of their hair overall improves. So that was a long answer, wasn't it? But that is always the first step that I would recommend.
Interesting. What makes our products sustainable?
What makes our products sustainable? So there's several things, and we sort of set ourselves a few principles over the years that we have stuck to. So one of the principles is we use natural ingredients. So every ingredient we use can be found somewhere in nature. So we don't use things that you can't put back into the environment. So our products are made of things like coconut oil, like shea butter, like sunflower oil, like marula oil. These are things that come from plants. We do use beeswax in some of our products as well. So everything is suitable for vegetarians, and quite a high proportion are suitable for vegans too. So everything is natural. Even our preservatives in our creams, so some of our creams do have preservatives in them. These preservatives are a blend of 3 components. So they would be a blend of sorbic acid. So sorbus is the rowan tree. So sorbic acid is sourced from there. Salicylic acid. So salicylic comes from salix, which is willow, a willow tree. It's also aspirin, but that's sort of quite a long conversation about the link between the willow tree and aspirin. And then the other thing that's in there is this thing called benzyl alcohol. So that is a very sweet smelling component that is the thing that makes fruit, maybe rotting fruit or very sweet smelling flowers often smell the way they do. That is one of the components of us being sustainable. Right from the start, we said we will not use any palm oil. So we don't buy into the principle, and this is a little bit controversial, we do not buy into the principle of sustainable palm oil. We buy into a principle of no palm oil. When we looked in some detail at the sustainable palm oil claim and the body that has been set up to manage that, it appeared to be an organisation that was set up for the benefit of people who had a vested interest in palm oil production and consumption. So we moved away from that and said, no, that's not for us, because these are vested interest people. Now, I've had a lot of debates about that, and I'm always happy to have a debate about that with anybody who'd like to spend half an hour talking about that particular subject. So no palm oil. No single-use plastic packaging. You will see when you look at our products that we love things like aluminium tins, aluminium recyclable in the UK. We love paper, so lots and lots of lovely paper, which is recyclable, compostable. So we use a lot of that. Lots of glass things like in our little bottles, so that's glass there with an aluminium lid, all what we're aiming at here is no single-use plastic, and things that can be compostable, recyclable or reusable. So we're very keen on reuse, and getting things that people can reuse. So these can be reused for all sorts of pretty or useful purposes.
Fantastic. Are there any eco-myths that customers should be aware of?
Now that's a good one. Eco-myths. So when I hear this word about eco-myths, I always think about greenwashing. So greenwashing is a term that probably when we started the company, not that many people talked about greenwashing, but in more recent years, as people's perceptions and priorities people set around being sustainable and making relevant eco choices, that's become higher profile and it's become more important, and therefore the desire to be seen as eco-friendly and sustainable has grown, along with that commercial awareness of how good it is for companies, if you like, or businesses to be able to claim those credentials. So greenwashing, I think, is where I normally go with this, and thinking about what it is that people are saying in order to make their products sound green, but actually when you look under the surface, they're not. So a good example of that actually is one of our most recent products that we've brought out. So this is our surface cleaner concentrate. Now, for many years we wanted to move into sustainable home care, but we couldn't find any raw ingredients that were both effective but also not produced using things like palm oil, produced many miles away, produced using petrochemical related inputs, produced using highly factory orientated processes, synthetic processes. So we could never find anything that we were happy with until we came across the key ingredient in our surface cleaner, which is something that had been developed over a number of years. And it is a surfactant that is a completely groundbreaking and new way of working. So it is something that is produced using a method of fermentation, like when you make beer or wine. And the feedstock for it is rapeseed oil. So it's local feedstocks, a natural process of fermentation, and then the creation of what we would call a biosurfactant from that process, rather than commercially produced surfactants and detergents which do not biodegrade, will live for years and years and years in the environment, and we just didn't want that. So this, for us, is a real groundbreaking development.
Perfect. So If you had to build a sustainable skincare routine from scratch,
yeah.
which 3 products would you recommend somebody got started with?
Oh gosh, I'm only allowed 3.
You're only allowed
I'm
3.
only allowed 3. Right. Okay. So the 3 I would get started with would be something to cleanse, then something to deep cleanse and sort of invigorate, and then something in the moisturizing space. So I think the 3 I would use, so cleansing every time for me is the shea butter facial soap. So the shea butter facial soap is a natural soap, no detergents, no surfactants, no artificial additives, surplus shea butter in the mix. It is non-drying and it is a fantastic cleanser. So just, soap, water, cleanse your face, rinse it off, a bit of a flannel or a bit of a cloth to help you if you want. There, stand by every time. For a little bit of a deeper cleanse, maybe not every day, and a bit of exfoliation to brighten the skin, I would go facial scrub. So, I'd stick with that one. That would be one of my top 3. And then this is one of my absolute favorites. So it's a product that we brought out last year. It is called facial serum, obviously, but it's made with marula oil and frankincense. So this is highly moisturizing, very fast absorbing. It really does lift and plump the skin. We have fantastic feedback about this, and many people who repeat purchase this. And if I'm absolutely honest, if there were only one thing I could take away with me if I was going, camping or backpacking or whatever, this would always be it. I would always stick with this. So this, moisturizer, brightener, lifter, firmer, fantastic product.
Last question, Clara. Which product are you most proud of and why?
Okay, I've already expressed my deep affection for the marula and frankincense serum, so I won't pick that again. But there is a product actually, because so this again is one that we developed last year. So for many years we have offered customers, and again, one of our most popular products, a natural deodorant. The natural deodorant works differently to commercial deodorants and antiperspirants that are on the market. It contains no aluminium, no parabens, it doesn't contain water, and it works with your body's natural processes rather than trying to suppress them. So it doesn't stop you perspiring. It simply adjusts the pH under your arms so that the bacteria which cause the odour, because it's not the perspiration that causes the odour, it's the bacteria, in the pH of the underarm after you've applied the natural deodorant, that bacteria can't grow, so there is no odour. People have fed back to us that when they've stopped using antiperspirants, stopped using artificial products under their arms, actually naturally after a few weeks, interestingly, they do perspire less anyway, which is quite interesting. They do perspire, less naturally. So that was a marvellous product. We've been offering that for years, but it does contain bicarbonate of soda. Over the years, so we hardly ever get any feedback that people have had an allergic reaction to any of our products. It is like, in the 1s and 2s a year, but one thing we did get feedback about was the bicarbonate in the natural deodorant causing irritation on people's underarms, and we managed to identify that did tend to be generally for women undergoing hormonal change, maybe through the menopause or at other times of their life. For whatever reason, it became more sensitive, and they became more sensitive to the bicarbonate of soda. Other people who actually have very sensitive skin before they start, they may find it difficult. And also people, men and women at times of stress. So they tended to be the times when people who had found that they were fine with bicarb in their natural deodorant suddenly weren't, and they were having a bit of a reaction. So what we developed was a natural deodorant called the Soothe deodorant, and this is developed using a slightly different approach to adjusting the pH under the arm, which doesn't rely on bicarbonate of soda and is a lot more gentle. And many people have switched to this bicarbonate-free natural deodorant, and so I think I'm most proud of that, actually, because for us it was so important to offer a natural alternative to commercially produced deodorants, but it's so important too that we make sure that it is accessible to everybody at every time in their life, and therefore this is an alternative to which people can either switch temporarily or permanently, or many people simply choose to take this alternative in the first place.
What did you replace the bicarbonate with?
Ricinoate. Yeah, so that is a naturally derived chemical. We call it is a chemical. I mean, it's derived from nature. It's zinc ricinoate, and that has a similar effect to the bicarbonate.
And what's that derived from?
It's derived from ricin. So ricin is a triglyceride. So it's like a fat, an oil, or a wax. And so it's derived from that.
Interesting. Thank you.